If you've ever heard that old saying that every gambler is only one loss away from hitting the jackpot, well, it's the same thing with startups.
Whoa, hey, cool it down, dude. This isn't gonna get us anywhere. Kinda like your startup company.
What's going on, guys? It's Josh here. Now, when it comes to startups, I like to talk about the things that I've done in my personal experience working for 2 years in a tech startup, about the things we've done right, the things we've done from a technology standpoint right, a marketing standpoint right, a business standpoint right, all the little tips and tricks I've learned over the years to actively improve your startup and grow your business. But very few times do I actually talk about what we've done wrong in the past, the mistakes that we've made that almost completely cost us the business. It's a deadly disease that many startup founders don't even know they have, or don't even know that their business has until it's too late. Today, we're going to be talking about Featuritis, a little disease that plagues startups that may not even know they have it until it's too late. So what is Featuritis and why is it the quote-unquote death of a startup? Well, let me tell you about my personal experience with it. Featuritis came in the form of one small change, one small fix, one feature that upon implemented would drastically drive up sales, would increase traffic to our website, would really take our startup from being right here to up here. Just this one little feature would change everything. And that's exactly the problem. Featuritis is the case of a company saying, one more feature, one more thing, one small change that I must make, and then everything will be great. And then my startup will blow up. And then my users will finally come back. But one more feature is never enough. The fact is, when a startup gets so caught up in being excited about their product, the way that it can benefit their customers, they often lose sight of how much money they're actually burning to get there without return on investment. Specifically when it comes to software engineering companies and building different platforms that could benefit their users, many founders often miss the fact that they're burning through capital without a return on investment simply because they're writing it off as that's part of the startup. That is part of the process of building out these features. That is part of the process of testing these features. And while they are true to some extent, most of the time they end up burning through a lot of their capital, not seeing a return on their investment, one feature at a time, until eventually the money pits run dry and there's nowhere left to turn. The truth is, no matter how much we believe it will make a difference, no matter how much we truly think that this one feature is going to fix everything, most of the time it doesn't really matter in the long run. It's not going to be that one feature that makes or breaks your company. Quite often that one feature becomes a series of features that perpetually snowballs into just a massive pile of burning money. There's a huge difference between being proactive on your development and being so proactive that you're building what you think your users want as opposed to what they actually want. The causes. Why does Featuritis happen? How can you avoid catching it? And what to do if you actually do catch it? Well, the easiest way to catch Featuritis, especially if you're a startup founder working on a tech product, is gaining a bit of momentum. When you get that extra bit of momentum, it's that little validation, that little dopamine spark in your brain that tells you that this is working. People are enjoying what I am building and it's going great. Stopping yourself from getting too excited about your product or your software or your platform or whatever you happen to be building is the first step to actually stopping Featuritis. Don't get me wrong, there is tons of time to celebrate your wins, but getting high off of your own supply when you should really be focusing on the metrics of what is working with your startup is a great way to actually kill your startup before it starts, catch Featuritis, and then find yourself building features that nobody actually wants, even though they say they do. So what does that mean exactly? Well, even though you think you know what your users want, here's a little bit of a reality check. Your users don't know what your users want. Many of the greatest startup deaths of all time have come from the fact that people have told these companies in the form of investments, in the form of public praise that, wow, what they are building is going to be amazing and it's going to change lives.
What is this?
It's a Juicero.
It's a big waste of money.
Developers, and specifically development teams, need to be accountable for each other to make sure that they're not catching Featuritis and they're actually setting tangible goals and deadlines and not just pumping out one feature after one feature after one feature. Featuritis can be incredibly contagious within a development team, and it is important that you as a member of that development team, or in fact, lead of that development team, are able to spot the signs and prevent them before they happen. And if it's already too late, don't worry, there are some ways you can fix it. The biggest symptom of this is the next feature. The next feature simply refers to the concept of your development team getting really excited about this next feature, telling everybody about how excited they are about this next feature. When this next feature comes out, their customers are simply going to have to buy from them. In the case of Meta, they experienced this very recently in the form of a very costly project known as the Metaverse. Now, for those of you that know, Mark Zuckerberg was the one who spearheaded that project and was the face of the metaverse as it was being built, and it was being purported to pretty much turn our lives into Ready Player One. But what actually happened?
Do you have a favorite feature to use in here?
Yeah.
Something that you think is very cool?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
This is so freaking cool.
So, okay, that's all right. People didn't like the initial version of the metaverse, but you know what? One more feature, Horizon Worlds. We put Horizon Worlds out there. Suddenly it's getting...
I take full responsibility for this decision.
And suddenly feature after feature after feature after feature after feature after feature, and now you've sunk billions of dollars into a project that has really had a very low return on investment because ultimately you took that risk. And this actually speaks to the second symptom of Featuritis, which is implementing something and building it and putting a ton of time into actually getting this thing live without ever consulting your customers. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, your customers don't even know what they want. Many of the times that you're building these things for your users, they say they would love it. They say they would love Ready Player One in real life. But when it actually comes to implementation in their lives, it's not really gonna work. I mean, I use my Oculus Rift all the time, but not for hanging out with my friends online. I'm in Discord for that. And that's part of the problem. Not verifying with your customers early on with actual tangible data to back up your features or whatever you want to implement next is a great way to kill your startup early. The third symptom of Featuritis is simply denial. Now, I know that might sound like a gross oversimplification, but hear me out. When it comes to actually implementing the feature, when you spend all the time building it, testing it, bug fixing it, and finally it rolls out, it's live, and nothing happens. Your users don't increase. The conversion rates that you were looking for, the targets that you may have set, don't come about. Simply put, everything that you put into building those features and the results that you were expecting, they don't add up. They don't match up at all. In fact, you might even go down as a result of increasing that new feature because you could be bogging down your platform with unnecessary jargon and unnecessary features. This has been the case for some of the things that I've worked on. I have spent hours building new features that I said,
oh my goodness, they're going to love this. They're going to love, as soon as we implement this in, it's going to solve so many problems.
And only for that to be removed 6 months later because we found out that, hey, in fact, because we didn't test it with our user base beforehand, they were confused by it. They didn't understand it. And even when we told them how to use it, many of them didn't use it because there were simpler alternatives. When you implement that feature and don't see the results you're looking for, you simply don't look at why. You need to actually put in the dedicated effort to making sure that you know why, if you implemented something that is going to be really, really great and you're expecting to see a great return on investment from it in the form of new users, in the form of new traffic to the website, whatever you may be building, you need to actually make sure that it produces the results you expected. And if it doesn't, key difference here is that if it doesn't, you need to figure out why. It's often the case that many startups and founders and development teams that have Featuritis are simply unwilling to look at why this feature didn't produce the results that they were expecting, or they are so quick to jump onto the next feature that will definitely make it, that they don't even look at what's behind them. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Josh, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button and comment down below if you've ever actually experienced Featuritis within your startup, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content related to software engineering, artificial intelligence, how to improve your life with technology, and maybe even a little bit of behind the scenes. Anyways, guys, until next time, see ya.